No one thought to look there. About a decade ago there was a crime spike here. It was really bad because one cartel tried to displace the other, and because we're a sleepy town across the border from the US, we're prime cartel real estate. However, when they weren't tearing eachother up in the streets, they would abduct, interrogate, kill and dispose of the bodies of their rivals until eventually one cartel managed to keep the town. One thing that baffled the authorities was their stealth. They came out of nowhere, struck their target and vanished into the shadows. That may be possible for a small unit or even a lone agent, but that's unheard of in a cartel. Federal investigations were made, and no one was able to find the cartel's HQ. It had to be big because they had weapons, vehicles, metal shops, dorms, kitchens and the corpse disposal equipment. They looked everywhere, nearby ranches, warehouses, junkyards, nothing. Until they looked where no one thought to look. A few kilometers outside of here is a fully operational state prison that they were using as their HQ. Everyone was in on it, from the inmates to the guards to the warden to the governor. People were killed there, dissolved in acid, and the drums were dumped in a nearby river. Since then the prison operation has been shut down, and the former governor is a wanted man by the Interpol. For those asking, this is not Jew_Res in the state of Chihuahua. Jew_Res has had its share of atrocities, but I've never lived there nor know the specifics of its crime habits. While not the town mentioned, it's entirely possible for Jew_Res to have suffered crimes with the same mo. The town I'm talking about is Piedras Negras in the state of Coahuila. It's a city of less than 200,000 population, across the border from Eagle Pass in Texas, another small town of 9 square miles, situated between Laredo and Del Rio. I'd also wish to make a correction about 2 statements. First is that the bodies were not dissolved in acid but burned to ashes inside steel drums. The ashes were thrown in a river a few kilometers away. Over 100 people were disposed of this way. Forensic authorities have combed the river, finding small bone fragments and testing their DNA. As of 2016, 9 have been identified. Second, there is a dispute over the governor responsible. At that time, the governor of the state was Humberto Moreira. However, he resigned before finishing his term so he could run for another office which he lost. Because he resigned, a provisional governor was assigned named Jorge Torres. During this time, there was absolute media silence regarding the matter. Either because of bureaucratic stonewalling, cartel threats or government payoffs. However, a national magazine called Proceso wrote an article about the crimes being committed in the state, and Moreira ordered all copies of the magazine removed from newsstands. When the problems in the state started to surface, they both left the country. Moreira got a scholarship to study in Spain, which no one was able to identify the source, and he also lived in a chalet that had a monthly rent higher than his salary as governor. Meanwhile, Torres fled to the U.S. Moreira managed to transfer the blame of all the wrongdoings of his administration onto Torres. Moreira was arrested by the Interpol a few years back, charged with money laundering. Incredible as it may seem, the Spanish authorities handed him over to Mexico, where he has lived as a free man, going as far as to create his own political party. No charges of any crime have ever been brought on him, and he maintains his claim of innocence. Since his return, he has never left the country. To mock his claim, one senator went so far as to invite him to the Super Bowl with all expenses paid. Moreira, fearing the Interpol, passed on the invitation. The senator tweeted a picture of the empty seat. Meanwhile, Torres was caught in the U.S. and also faced charges for money laundering. He pleaded guilty in summer of this year. It's worth noting that Torres' testimony gives details as to the cartel's operations during Moreira's administration, including the protection they received and the times, dates and sums of bribes paid. The Mexican government never included these statements as part of their investigations.